Good morning, Pankhurst, and welcome to your third maths lesson this week. So today is 24th of February 2021, and our learning objective today is can I recognize a half? So in today's lesson, we will be recapping our learning from year 2 so that we are able to know that splitting a whole into two equal parts is called halving, to know that 1/2 is written as this, so a half is 1/2, and then to know that what a denominator and numerator of a fraction mean. So before we get into today's lesson, I just want to do a lesson starter with you. So if you can take out your mini whiteboards and pens or piece of paper and a pencil and work out the answers to 1 to 4. So if you can pause the screen now, work out the answers, and then come back to the screen when you are ready. Okay, fantastic. So here are the answers for you. If you look at number one says, find the difference between the number of visitors on Wednesday and Friday. So you need to work out what find the difference means. So find the difference means take away. Okay, so it means minus. Take away. So if I know find the difference means take away, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do Friday take away Wednesday. So Friday is 321 visitors and Wednesday has 132 visitors. So when I do 321 take away 132, my answer should have been 189. So the difference between Wednesday and Friday are 189 visitors. Okay, now number 2 says Alex has a £20 note. She buys a purse for £12.49. How much change does she get? So you should have done 20 take away 12.49, because when we work out how much change, it is subtracting. Your answer should have been £7.51. Okay, so number 3 says, what is 320 divided by 8? So we know when you do 8 divided by 0, you get a 0, and then 32 divided by 8 is 4. So your answer should have been 40, because 8 goes into 32 4 times. Then it says for number 4, partition the number 492. And the way to partition it is by partitioning it into our place value positions by doing our 100, 10s and 1s. So we know 492 means 400, 90, and then 2. So that is the answer you should have got. So well done for that. Now, our guided practice number 1. What is a fraction? Can you put your thinking caps on and have a good think about what a fraction is? Okay, fantastic. So this is what a fraction looks like. Okay, you have a number at the top, which is called a numerator. Then you have a number at the bottom, which is called a denominator. And between your numerator and denominator, you always have a dash. Okay, so this is what all fractions look like. Now this fraction is telling me half. This fraction means half. Okay, it means half. So whenever you're going to represent a half, you're always going to write it like this. Like this. Okay? Now, a numerator, which is the number at the top, shows how many parts there are. Okay? Then the number at the bottom, which is the denominator, it shows me how many parts make the whole. Okay, so the numerator is how many parts there are, and the denominator is how many parts make the whole. Okay, now I want you, for your guided practice number 2, to complete the sentences. If you have a look at this picture, I have a cake, and my cake has been halved. Okay, it's been halved. You can see a line through the middle, and my cake with a line through the middle means it's halved. Now, what I would like you to do is on your mini whiteboards, can you complete these sentences? The first one says, the whole cake is split into something equal groups. Remember, equal means same. It needs to be the same, okay? Each part is worth a something. This can be written as something, okay? If you just work this out for me now. So now that you've worked that out, I'm going to show you what the answers are. So it says the whole cake is split into something equal parts. Now, if you look at the cake, I have one part and then two parts. So the cake has been split into two equal parts. And you must remember that equal means same parts. Each part is worth a half. And the reason that each part is worth a half is because it's two parts and it's equal, okay? Each part is equal. So each part is worth a half, okay? This can be written as this. So it's written as this fraction. So do you remember when we looked at this slide here, we discussed how this fraction, it means half. So over here, because each part is worth a half, because they're two equal parts, it needs to be written like this. So this fraction means half. So there's one part in each part, and there's two parts that make the whole, which is a half, okay? Now, guided practice number 3. Which pictures represent half? So which pictures represent half? Write the letters on your whiteboard. So on your whiteboard, I want you to write down the letters which represent a half. So I want you to remember that when you look at half, the parts need to be equal. So have a look and write down on your whiteboards which pictures represent a half, and then come back to my lesson when you're ready. All right, fantastic. So if I look at shape A, I can see a square. And the square has a line right down the middle of the shape. And each part is equal. And because each part is equal, that means that represents a half. When you have a half, half means same. So half means equal and it means the same. So each side has to be the same. It has to be an equal part. Now, if you have a look at this circle, the line is over here. Now, if I look at my parts, one part is bigger and the other part is smaller. So that means that those are unequal parts. So if they are unequal parts, does that mean it's a half? Is it representing a half? No, fantastic. So that is not an equal, that is not representing a half. Now, if you look at my rectangle here for shape number C, I've got a line, but wherever the line is drawn, where the line is drawn is not giving me two equal parts. This part is smaller than this part, and this part is bigger than this part. Or even though I have two parts, they are not equal, so that does not represent a half. If you look at my triangle for shape number D, there is a line right down the middle. And when I look at each part on either side of the line, they are equal. So that is representing a half. If I look at this circle here and look at the line down the middle, the parts on either side of the line are equal because they're the same size. That's the same size as that. That means E is representing a half as well. Because remember, half means equal and equal means same. So it has to be the same. If I look at F, I have a rectangle, but my line is going diagonally on the shape. But it is not giving me two equal parts. They are unequal parts because they are, first of all, not divided into the same shape and they are not the same size. So F doesn't count. If I look at G, I have a square, and on this square, I have a diagonal line going through the middle. And either side of my shape, I have equal parts. So both parts on the side of my lines are equal. So then that means that is representing a half. Now, if you look at H, both parts are not equal. They are not the same. So that does not represent a half. So on your mini whiteboards, if you wrote down A, D, E, and G, then you were correct. They represent half. Now, guided practice number 4. It says, which pictures represent a half? Write the letter on your whiteboard. If you can pause the screen and work out the answer, then come back to the screen when you are ready. Fantastic. So earlier on, we were saying half means equal and equal means same. So to work out which pictures represent a half, you need to see whether they are equal in both parts. Okay, because half only has 2 parts and the 2 parts need to be equal. So if I look at A, I have in total 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And it's split into 2 parts. I have 1 part here and 1 part in the box. For me to see if it is representing a half, I need to check if both parts have the same amount. So I'm going to count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So A is representing a half because I have 10 and half of 10 is 5 and both groups have 5. Now if I look at B, I have a picture of a domino, and on that domino I have 1, 2, 3, 4 dots. Okay, that's part 1 and that is part 2. In part 1, I have 1, 2 dots. In part 2, I have 1, 2 dots. So both parts are, so this picture over here, B, is representing half because they are equal on both amounts. Now, with C, I have 1 part here and 1 part there. First, I'm going to count all my apples. So let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So I have 13 apples in total. I am going to count how many apples I have in part 1, then how many apples I have in part 2. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I have 6 in part 1 and I have 7 in part 2. Does that represent a half? No. Fantastic. And the reason it doesn't represent a half is because they're not the same. They are not equal. For the picture to represent half, both parts need the same amount. They need to be equal. Okay? So C doesn't count. Now let's look at D. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 triangles in total. It's been split into 2 parts. Part 1, which is in the red outline, and then part 2. So part 1 has 1, 2, 3 triangles and a half. Okay, then part 2 has 1, 2, 3 triangles and a half. So this part has 3.5 and this part has 3.5. Is that representing a half? Fantastic, yes, because both parts are equal. Yeah. Now let's look at E. Let's count how many parts we have all together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I have 10 parts all together, and out of these 10 parts, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 are blue. Okay, 4 are blue, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 are white. Is that representing half? No, fantastic. The reason it's not representing half is because the white is not equal to the blue. Okay, fantastic. Now it's your turn. So it's time for you to do your independent task. Choose between activity 1, activity 2, and activity 3. Then you could challenge yourself with the challenge questions. Okay. For activity 1, you must finish the sentences below. Okay, so over here it says the whole strawberry is split into something equal parts. So you need to see how many parts it's split into. So it's split into part 1 and part 2. Okay, and then you complete the rest. Okay, each part is worth how much, and this can be written as how. Okay, so remember it's a half. Then your extension is now draw your own example and write the sentences to match your picture. So you could possibly draw an apple and half it, okay? Now activity 2, draw the shapes and color half of each shape. So on your piece of paper, you need to make sure you're using a ruler and you need to draw out these shapes. Then you need to color in half of the shape. Okay, so with E and F, the lines have not been drawn for you. So when you draw this picture out, you need to make sure you half it and then color in a half. Activity number 2, part 2. So it says only half of the shape has been drawn. Draw the missing half to make the whole shape. So for example, on your piece of paper, you may draw this half, and then you'll just need to complete it by drawing the other half. So the way you're going to complete it is make sure that it's looking the same on both sides. Okay. Now, activity number 3. These are your questions that you need to complete. Okay. It says how many apples need to be circled to represent 1/2. Yeah. So 1/2 obviously means this. So you need to work out how many you will circle to make it 1/2. And over here it says Mo, Cat and Dom run a race. Mo is more than halfway through. Cat is exactly halfway through. Dom is less than halfway through. Show where each child could be put on the line. Okay. So if it says Mo is more than halfway through, you know he's not half, he's past the half line. Cat is exactly halfway through, so you'll draw Cat right in the middle of the line. Then this is part 2. It says, if I correctly draw a vertical line of symmetry on a shape, this will represent a half. Okay, explain always, sometimes, or never. Explain your answer. So if I correctly draw a vertical line of symmetry on a shape, this will represent half, always, sometimes, or never. So you need to try and work out, does it always do that? Does it sometimes do that or never do that? So if she had all the shapes in front of her and drew a vertical line of symmetry, will they all represent a half? If so, why? If not, why? Okay. Then for your challenge, I would like you to draw some pictures that show half of an object. Okay. You could possibly draw a teddy bear. Yeah. So you could possibly draw a teddy bear. And then you need to show half of the picture. Okay. And make sure that it's equal. All right, fantastic. Well done, Pankhurst, for going through your maths lesson. And I look forward to seeing your work on Tapestry. So do not forget to upload your work onto Tapestry. See you in your next lesson. Bye.